Well, I just went live a second ago. Technology doesn't like me this morning. Good morning. It's Monday. I'm going to hang out with Mel Robbins. She's one of my favorite human beings on this entire planet, and I am excited that you are here on a Monday morning. Where is the head of IT at the Hollis house? Oh, we don't have one. Let's enjoy ourselves a little sip of coffee. Let Mel jump back in. What in the world is even going on here? That's okay. I said, if you didn't hear before, every once in a while, you end up stumbling into a relationship with someone where you immediately know, I'm going to be friends with this person for the rest of my life. And Mel Robbins fits that bill. She, her husband, Chris, they are people that are going to be my people forever and ever. She is someone who obviously has poured so much goodness into humans everywhere, but also she is someone who is, as a role model, someone who has an appreciation for what matters and what doesn't matter at all. And there's something amazing about how she has just released the worry of so much of the garbage that we end up giving weight to. If someone is a jerk to her, then she's just you know what, I love that about her. Without further ado, please rise, remove your hats, and welcome Mel Robbins to the stage. Ah!
Hey!
Hello!
Hey!
Where are you?
I am in New York City. I'm in a hotel room with my husband, Chris.
Look at that
Chris,
sexy son of a gun.
He's
I love this man. Hi, Chris. You handsome son of a gun.
Good to see you.
You too, brother. Are you guys excited that this dang book of yours comes out tomorrow, or what?
Well, it's so funny that you were just saying I don't give a hoot about what anybody thinks, because I literally was because I spend so much time beating the heck out of myself that I don't need to worry about what anybody else thinks, you know?
You know what's crazy? This is a great thing to start our conversation with, because when I look from the outside at you, I have this insane respect for what to me seems like you having a perfect handle on not giving any weight at all to other people. And here you are confessing that, of course, it's different on the inside than it might look from the outside. But that's just what a sign of all of our humanity. It's so bananas.
Well, yeah. And, I guess it's and the irony is, here I've written this book that's all about how to create a better relationship with yourself, how to silence the critic, how to make it a habit to encourage, support, and celebrate yourself. And there's no doubt that the high five habit has profoundly changed my mindset, and it's made me less concerned about what other people think. But I still do struggle with this relentlessness that I have in terms of beating myself up. Literally, I just finished a call with our team. We're heading into launch week. We are working our just tails off in terms of trying to make the launch successful and to really celebrate everybody, both who's buying the book, people like you who are friends of ours who are supporting this and getting behind the high five habit, the big high five challenge that's coming up. And I notice that my mind still focuses on the one thing that's not done. And I have to literally slap myself and say, wait a minute, stop doing that, Mel. Stop doing that. Redirect on the things that are going well. And so I want everybody to know that there is no kind of silver bullet that takes care of everything. Being able to be kind to yourself, being able to not be concerned about what other people are going to think, being able to ride the ups and downs that come every day. It's a skill, and it's something that you have to practice in real time. And even as I'm launching a book about high-fiving yourself forward, this morning I'm having to high-five myself back up. Get back up now. Come on. Keep high-fiving yourself. High-five. Go. Because there are so many things that are going to happen in your day-to-day life that knock you down.
Yeah.
Even the littlest things. And so I feel like what I've discovered about myself, Dave, is I always thought I was concerned about everybody else. I always thought I was really worried about what everybody else thought. But the truth is, it all comes back to you. and your relationship with yourself, and whether or not you're secure with yourself, and whether or not you're hard on yourself. Because if you're hard on yourself, you'll think other people think the same thing. If you're insecure with yourself, you'll be insecure because you're not comfortable being around other people. And I'm still working through how flippin' hard I am on myself.
Yeah, you know what's crazy though? Because I think part of what it ends up being for me, and maybe for you, when I end up hearing someone's criticism of me, there's a part of me in the most insecure piece of my being that worries that I'll be found out for that being a thing that other people can see. And when they say that thing, now it's like, oh, they actually know. Like, they know the thing that I am most insecure about, and so they figured it out. I'm a fraud. I'm not good enough. I don't deserve the platform, or whatever it might be. A lot of times the worry of other people saying things because of how hard we are on ourselves is that it might affirm or validate the things that we have the biggest insecurities for. Even though there's not any kind of foundation in that, it doesn't matter. It gives credence to something that doesn't deserve credence.
Yeah, I agree. I'll give you another example, Dave.
Oh no, let me give an example.
Oh shoot.
Here we
Okay.
go, Chris Robbins, ladies and
Keep
gentlemen.
it PG.
No, I think what you're saying, Mel, about you working through it presumes that there is an end game.
Oh God.
Whereas
There's not.
There is no end game, and I'll tell you because you probably don't remember this morning. So this morning I got up before Mel. It was dark. Of course, the privacy blinds are drawn. It's pitch black in the room. I go into the bathroom. Mel's sort of stirring. I
don't even know what you're going to say.
I comment on how I've just given myself a high five in the mirror, and I say to Mel, I just gave myself a high five for having gotten up when I said I was going to get up, which was past space. It was an acknowledgement for having done something I just did. And I made a comment to you about how I find it a little more powerful to high five oneself in the mirror for something that is out there in the future. Like I've got this for whatever is about to come. And your response was, how about just high-fiving yourself for being?
We don't do that. Like, never do we do that. I mean, like, that's the problem, but also part of the solution in this is like the very simple act of changing the way that you immediately have a reaction to that person you see in the mirror ends up creating something as a platform to jump off of for the rest of your day that's different when you can actually acknowledge that you're already good without having to achieve anything, without having to do anything. And trust me, that's a thing that I've been really hard on myself with, in part because I grew up with achievements in wiring that if I could get good grades, if I could memorize Bible verses, if I could do well in sports, then I would be worthy of love, then I would be worthy of attention or significance. And so I just was hustling all the time to try and be seen as lovable when I had to like rewire as an adult this reality. And it's hard because of so much muscle memory that's existed.
Yeah.
I'm already lovable. I'm already enough. I'm already worthy and good. And that active high-fiving is a thing that helps reinforce that, even though it's hard. Like, the whole thing is hard.
Dave, I love that we're talking because, yes, you are lovable. And yeah, you are enough. And, how many of you that are watching this conversation can relate to what Dave just said? Like, put it in the comments that you feel you're starting to realize that, holy cow, when I got a decent grade, I got praise. When I did well in sports, I got praise. When I came home with nice artwork, I got praise. And so you start to believe that it's only when you're doing something worthy of the praise that you yourself deserve to be celebrated and seen. And, when you start to realize, holy cow, I have married, just like Dave said, this idea of achieving and being perfect or achieving something worthy of clapping or celebrating or even just a little attention. I mean, let's just start with the basics. Maybe, you did you raked the lawn and somebody paid attention to you at home, or like even just the attention. And so you start to marry the doing with your worth in the being. And there's a couple things that have happened, Dave, since you and I have spoken that I think you're going to love. And number one is that I was talking with our pal Jay Shetty, And he said this thing that really like kind of has been like rattling around in my mind, right? And it's that, you know, I said to Jay, I said, you know, we were talking about the same point, and I said, well, the high five isn't something you earn. The high five is something you need. And just like you brush your teeth every morning to clean out your teeth, you're going to kind of do the high five to clean out your mind, body, and spirit. And I said, you should, if you're still breathing and you can stand in front of that mirror, you need to feel supported heading into your day. And we would do that for our children. Like we all instinctively understand the benefit of teaching our kids that you should high five yourself. You should send yourself into the day feeling good about yourself and empowered. And yet when we stand there as adults, there's something that we resist in doing it for ourselves. And to your point, it's the muscle memory. And what Jay must be thinking about us because he just commented on a post of ours. Hi, Jay. But what he said was this: well, Mel, this is what you're making me think. He said, at the heart of this is celebration of self. And when you think about your birthday, what you're actually celebrating is the fact that you're still alive. We all think that you're marking the amount of time that's passed, but what we're really celebrating is your birth, and we're celebrating the fact that you're still here.
Yeah.
And you've got more time. And what you're asking people to do at the most profound level with this high five is to celebrate the fact that you're still breathing and that you're alive, and that alone means that you deserve the encouragement and the celebration to send yourself into the day. And, you know, it's a very profound way to think about it. And the other way I've been starting to think about this high five habit is it's very simple what it is. It's a light switch. There's a switch inside of you that will turn the light on. And thanks to the science that we know and the programming that's already in your brain and your nervous system, the second you raise your hand to high five yourself, this flip switches inside of you and a little bit of light turns back on. You feel a little bit more optimistic. You remember who you are. You feel a little bit more energized. And that's literally what you're doing with this.
Yeah, you know, like when we've talked about this before, and the book is amazing. It comes out tomorrow, High Five Habit. It's also, if you buy it, there are so many pre-order incentives. If you don't know why pre-ordering is important, it sends a message to all of the retailers carrying the book that this is a book they need to have as much inventory as possible for. So anything you can do to support Mel today as an author, it means everything. But you also get some amazing, super valuable, wildly valuable beyond the price of the book incentives when you buy it. One of the things, though, that I was thinking of, like the way that smell sometimes brings you back to a memory as a child, or the way that a music, like some song, might bring you back. There is something in this simple act of high-fiving that also has so much wiring for us that it can bring us back to celebrating a championship, or loving someone in a certain way, or just even like it was a Sunday of football yesterday. There was a record-setting field goal that was kicked, and I was high-fiving my kids in the midst of like watching this amazing thing. Every time something amazing has happened, we just raise our hand and high five. And the idea that we would do it to ourselves, to your point, elicits that same kind of, let me bring you back to that smell, that music, that high five that you've previously done, and just triggers something that immediately fires in your brain a chemical reaction that will change the chemistry of how you approach the day. I know it's simple, and even you and I have joked, like, there's a little bit of almost corniness to it at times when you're first starting, especially like, okay, I'll do this. But it works. It freaking works. So you can't even argue with the results.
Not just a little bit of corniness, a lot of bit of corniness.
Yeah.
There's a hurdle to get over, I think.
Well, talk about the hurdle for you, because, you know, I write with Chris's permission about, you know, some of the struggles that you faced after the restaurant business in your mind was a total failure, which is not my story about it at all. But what is standing with what have you struggled with, and what is standing in front of the mirror and having to push through it taught you? And I want everybody to pay close attention to this, because, you know, a lot of people hear the high five habit and they think it's for women and kids. I actually think men struggle even more profoundly with self-worth issues because a lot of them aren't talking about it.
By the way, I want Chris to answer this question, but I will say Mel is the guest on the Rise Together podcast this Thursday, and we started talking about how I want so badly to love myself when I look at myself in the mirror, and I started crying. And I think that you've had this experience with a number of male interviewers who find themselves in a world where it's not necessarily acceptable or normal for us to admit that we, in fact, also struggle with self-worth and love for ourselves. There's something about this very, very simple concept that I think has as much or more practical application for the men in your life as it might for the women also. So anyway, sorry, Chris, tell us your breakthrough, man.
Well, I think that speaking specifically to the first time I tried it, my immediate reaction was, this is stupid. And I said that to Mel, and we got into this conversation about how what's intrinsic in the notion that it's stupid is actually the disbelief or depression or I'm not worthy, or it's a story in your own head. It's not that you believe it's stupid, it's just what's standing in your way to be able to actually acknowledge oneself. And the piece in the book about how it's so uncharacteristic for us to, well, two things. You look in the mirror, you're either critical of yourself, or more often than not, maybe for guys, is you don't even look in the mirror. Like, you can't even actually look at your own self. And I think that in and of that, that stands behind also this, at least the initial feeling of, this is so stupid.
Yeah.
Well, what have you gotten out of it?
Just,
what do you feel when you do it? Because you've struggled with a sense of failure for a long time because some dumb business that you started didn't work. And this is what guys do. Like what's interesting is you think of your answer. I gave a speech, Dave, in Vegas, 6,000 people, massive sales conference, okay? And as I'm talking about the high five habit for the first time, the head guy from this massive global corporation was sitting in the front row, 6,000 people in Vegas. And the whole time I'm giving the speech, in my mind, I'm thinking, he hates this. He cannot believe that he has hired me and paid me this amount of money to stand on a stage and tell an audience they need to, after brushing their teeth, high-five themselves. And here's the science. He comes up to me afterwards, and he's this very sort of sarcastic, gruff, global head of sales kind of guy. And he said, that is the most extraordinary thing I've ever heard. He said, you know what you made me realize? He said, I actually hate the way I look. I don't think I've looked at myself in the mirror for 10 years. And he said, you also made a lot of sense that if I start my day like that, no wonder I'm so hard on everybody else that works for me, because I begin my day by being hard on myself. And he just had this whole thing. And so I think that for what I'm really realizing about this is that, we know women are hard on themselves. We know women pick apart their appearance. We know 91% of women hate how they look. 50% of us can't look at ourselves in the mirror. We know this begins at the age of 8 for women in terms of starting to see and criticize and pick your appearance apart, see all the things that you're not. But what I'm really moved and excited that we're talking about is that this is just as big of a problem for men around self-worth. And for you guys, what I'm noticing is, it's about the body and how you look, but it's more about the stuff you haven't accomplished. It's more about the fact that you're not where you thought you were supposed to be yet. It's about that kind of stuff. And so what do you see as you do it?
I guess I would just say that, it's somewhat early days in my own practicing of it, but that what I'm noticing and what's cool about it is that it's like what happened this morning. I notice myself being able to tap into how there is a past-based conversation that comes up, which can be good, like acknowledging oneself for getting up when you did. But there's also there's a past, present, and future. So even inside of your comment this morning, how about just, high-fiving yourself for being you is a momentary acknowledgement that has nothing to do with whether you've achieved or accomplished or whether you're not where you wanted to be or even what's coming down the pike. So I think it's so multi-layered in...
What do you notice in your body?
Even to your point, Dave, about like it conjuring up memories of past, which can be super positive about a game or a song, or that's just more of you exercising the muscle of tapping into what's beautiful.
You know, I see something right here that I think is really important. It says, I feel that too after following someone else and being the caregiver. I'm not where I wanted to be at this point. So here's what I want to say. So many people have that. Like when you stand in front of the mirror, it's really kind of this complex moment. And in fact, at this conference, because it was a conference about dentistry, a couple people told me that there has been literally hundreds of millions of dollars, Dave, of research put into trying to own the moment in the mirror with brushing your teeth and oral dentistry care. That based on research, and I got to track this down, based on research, that is the most focused and the most clear-minded moment that any human being has all day long. And that if you can create a positive brand experience in that moment or a positive association in that moment, the impact through somebody's day is bananas. And so this guy was kind of sharing this with me in terms of the power of the moment of brushing your teeth and what you're doing in the mirror. And I'm going to share something with you because there are plenty of mornings where, I invented the high five habit. Yep. I invented it to pick myself up in a moment where life was punching me in the face. We've both experienced that, Dave. I think, we've kind of gone through hell and back during the same time in different ways. And yes, there are moments that I stand in front of that mirror and it feels divine and spiritual and godlike. And there are moments like this morning where I stand in front of that mirror with my saggy neck still. And that's not a criticism. That's a fact. And I...
High-fiving the goiter?
Yes, this thing. Is that what it's called, a goiter? I thought it was called a waddle. Maybe a goiter is something on a man's body. But I literally don't feel that depth. What I feel is I want to play a big game in life today.
Yeah.
So I'm going to push through the BS. I'm going to push through the fatigue. I'm going to push through like the negativity. And I'm going to get myself back out there. And I am going to go play a big game. And I'm going to send myself into the day the way that a sports team sends themselves into the beginning of a game.
Yeah.
With an attitude that says, I don't care how tired we are. I don't care that we're the underdog. I don't care about any of that stuff. I am here and in it to win it, damn it. And I'm going to prove it by raising my hand and shake that crap off. Because I'll tell you what I was feeling this morning, Dave. What I was feeling this morning as we're walking down Poets Alley in Central Park is I was feeling a mix, like a casserole of emotions. I have got my first book coming out in 5 freaking years. So I'm excited. I'm overwhelmed. I'm so grateful that you guys are buying it. Thank God. Buy the damn book. Help me out here. Please buy it. And help yourself. Help yourself. This is, I'm going to go on record and say, I think this is the most profound and impactful thing I've ever put out into the world. And I say, I'm going there. I'm going there. I think it's bigger than the high five, or than the 5-second rule. So we're walking down Poets Alley and I'm starting to as Chris has asked me questions, so what's going on today? We're taping with Dr. Oz, and he's dedicated half of a show to talk about the science of this. I'm thinking about getting on with you and seeing somebody that I deeply love. I feel like we were siblings in a different life.
Agreed.
That we were meant to meet right now. This is so game on. I am thinking about all of our friends in our mastermind group and how everybody has jumped on board to support the High Five Challenge, to support this book launch, how we are all in it, supporting each other, this huge abundant thing that's going on. And I literally, in that moment, as I started to think about all of our friends and everybody being so supportive, I felt something that felt really familiar. I felt unworthy of it.
Oh,
I felt uncomfortable with the level of support. And I think that the feelings that we all have of truly like not being worthy of
yeah.
love, they run so deep, you guys,
Yeah.
that when you start to love yourself and you start to allow more people into your life and you start to ask for help and support, and when people start to show up in your life, I'm realizing how often I've pushed people away, how often I'm like, oh, I can handle it, I got it, I'm not even going to ask. It makes me really sad. And in the moment that I started to feel unworthy, that I don't deserve Dave Hollis taking a half an hour, like I don't deserve to have all these people really supporting this concept and helping me get this idea out in the world. And then I was like, you know what, Mel? F that. High five, woman.
That's what I
That is
love
an
about you.
old
Come
freaking
on.
story. Come on now. And in fact, when we're off this, I'm going to call a team meeting, because I was literally like, we don't have this done, we don't have that done. I was like all like in the doing of stuff versus the being of what's happening.
Yeah. Well, so I saw Gisela put a comment up that said that she can't help but smile when she does the high five. And I just want to acknowledge that there is something in the simplicity of this activity that, against the backdrop of how hard we can be to ourselves, counteracts some of that negative self-talk and criticism and unworthiness that we might feel, because you can't help but smile. And even at the beginning, when you feel like it's hokey, you can't help but smile.
Yeah.
But also, I just want to acknowledge one of the things that you said. You're standing on this stage in Vegas in front of this huge crowd, and you're worried that this person who's hired you doesn't think that this is great. And for anyone who feels the calling to work on or do something that is simple, that you have tried to convince yourself won't have impact, don't underestimate the power of something simple that could be profound. Because I think in both the high five habit and the 5-second rule, you have found things that are profoundly simple and profound. And like we talk ourselves out of doing things that would change the world because of our worry that they're not going to matter. This matters. This thing is going to literally change people's lives. And I do agree, in a way that's even greater than the 5-second rule. But you could have listened to that voice that was like, this is goofy, this is silly, and you could have not done it, and it would have come at the expense of actually changing the world. So if you are someone who's got a thing on your heart, listen to that voice, because Mel, God bless you for listening to it. Like, it is going to change the world because of your willingness to push past the worry of it maybe not being something that every person understands or gets.
Yeah, no, it's so true. Everybody's got some gift inside of them to share with the world. And, you know, I've translated it into something called the high five habit. But really what I'm sharing is my story, and sharing a very low moment. And it's in the sharing of that story and the unpacking of it that I've discovered the science. And the reason, by the way, that you're smiling, Dave, and that most people smile when they push past the resistance and the weirdness and they high five themselves in the mirror. Dr. Daniel Amen explained this to me. It's because your brain releases dopamine when you high five yourself, because your brain has been training itself your entire life. Every time somebody else high fives you, it gives you dopamine. And so you smile at other people when you high five them. You can't help it. That's your brain. The same programming is going to work when you aim it back at yourself. That's why this works.
All right, so there is something that is rad and free for everyone who is listening right now, called the High Five Challenge. Mel, will you tell humans who are listening in real time or that watch in replay what the heck this challenge is and how they can jump into it? Did I mention that it's free?
Yes, this is incredible.
I have to go, Dave. Thanks for having me on. High five.
Oh, thanks, Chris. Love you, brother.
See you soon.
All right, see you, buddy.
So I created something called the High Five Challenge, and it's super cool. It's a 5-day free challenge. It is powered by the leading personal development app in the world called Growth Day. And it's 5 days of getting coaching from me about confidence, courage. We explain the science of the high five habit. We give you simple things to do. And there's journaling prompts, and there's a global community, hundreds of thousands of people that will be in this app with you for free. You need a first name and an email. I know Dave is going to put his link in the comments and we're going to pin it. So just tap that link and you're going to put a first name and an email down. It kicks off October 4th. And you heard it here first, actually, because we're going to announce it on the Today Show to the rest of the world on Wednesday. And so
Was I not
Dave's got
supposed
a
to
link.
say anything? Oh, geez.
Oh, yeah,
No.
no. I love that. You guys get to hear it first. That's fantastic. You were supposed to say something. Absolutely. And so I want you to join this because everybody needs a little bit of energy, a little bit of positive support. Everybody needs a really empowering group of people high-fiving them back. And so we're going to give you 5 days of extraordinary coaching, of tools, and of this incredible community where you're going to be able to high-five each other, upload photos and videos, do the challenges together, share it on social media, and you're going to leave this challenge having had a breakthrough in self-doubt, feeling momentum to move your life forward, and you're going to be in there with me and Dave and all of our crazy, amazing, inspiring author, influencer friends.
Now, honestly, it's so rad. And it's one of these things where you end up adopting a basic, simple thing that you immediately realize, oh, wow, this is going to change the way I start my day. This is going to change the way I think about myself. This is going to change the way I give myself permission to show up as my full, true, authentic self. There is self-love that is available to you. And this, as a hack to access it, is one of the most beautiful things, period. I love it. I love it so much. And I think all of us, we're just so desperate to connect to being seen as who we are, being loved for who we are, and in that, being okay with us being who and where we are at this point in time. I was talking recently about like what I would describe myself as in 3 words, and work in progress were the 3 words that I came up with. And the thing is, like, work in progress as 3 words that I would use that was something that would be an indictment of me not being where I wanted to be back in the day. Like, I just was so hard on myself for not yet already achieving certain things. And now I see it as this badge of honor that, like, at the end of my life, work in progress is going to be a thing that is still happening because progress is the most important thing. And I think part of the ability to high five is looking yourself in the mirror and saying, you know what, we're just going to get 1% better tomorrow than we are today. We're just going to make a tiny bit of progress. And I want you to be proud of that progress. Give yourself grace for anything that doesn't go exactly as you'd hoped for, and keep going, keep moving forward, brother.
Yeah, totally. Like I feel like it's even more empowering the high five habit is, and high fiving the woman I see in the mirror on the days where I have no energy and I feel defeated, because I feel the second that I give myself that high five, I feel the energy go, okay, it's hard. And then I feel it shift. Now, you know, you're on camera, right? I'm waiting for Chris to all of a sudden drop his pants in the background, which is not the show that you were tuning in for. So
I love it. All right, where are you off to today? What you're going to go to Dr. Oz?
So I'm going to actually get my team back on a Zoom call, and I'm going to send them into this week the way that they need to be sent into this week. That's number 1. Number 2, I am going to go to Dr. Oz and spend half of the show with Dr. Daniel Amen talking about the science in the brain. And we've also got 3 people showing up from around the United States who've been doing the High Five Challenge that are coming to talk about the incredible things that have been happening in their lives, including a woman who's using the high five habit to get through and feel optimistic and strong as she goes through her 5th round of chemo. And somebody who's launching a business, who has never launched a business before, who's using this every day to send herself into the game of life and business. And so we're doing that. We've got a couple more live streams. And then mostly I just need to work on actually focusing on what's going great and being present instead of being in the doing. Like, I got to get it all done because only then will I be worthy of it. But actually just take a breath and be with my husband and one of our daughters who's here, and be present for it all and be grateful for it all and take in which is new for me, all the
I know.
love and friendship, and feel deserving, and to feel the love, and to know that it's coming in because I've been putting it out. And
Yeah. Well, I will publicly affirm, Mel, you are worthy of every single bit of it. You are singularly one of the 5 people that I would, if I had a choice to just spend a day with someone, you are on the list of the 5 people that I would reach out to, because you are someone that every single time I see you, talk to you, get to spend time with you, makes me feel better about myself, makes me feel normal for my struggle, makes me believe that I can go and achieve amazing things. You are a world changer, but you're also super worthy. You are super enough. You are super great. And I'm so grateful for your friendship.
Brother. I love you, Dave.
I
feel the same way about you.
You are amazing.
And I also love the fact that it's not all just that. We do all kinds of stuff that we're not telling you all about. We have a lot of fun. That's right.
Our vacations are none of your business.
Exactly. We don't even tell our own kids what we do on those vacations.
No,
right?
no, it's none of your business.
Exactly.
All right. Well, hey, I'm going to put this live into my stories, and I will do a swipe up or a link, I guess now is what you do, to the challenge in that story. So if you're listening right now, I couldn't paste the comment or pin the comment, so it's my bad. I don't know how technology works, but I will put it in my stories. I'll put a couple of different slides with the link. If you want to join the challenge, man, I encourage you to do it. But more than that, buy this dang book. It's like, it's a simple concept that will change your life. Look at all these incredible
people who are doing the high 5 habits already.
It will change your life.
It will.
Mel Robbins she's written something that honestly is transformation at work. And it's something that if you read it, I promise you, will just change the way that you think about yourself. Who doesn't want to feel great about themselves? My goodness gracious. So grab the book, jump into the challenge. If you end up doing the challenge through the link that I send, I want you to tag me so that I can share with other people the way that your challenge is affecting your life. But for 5 days starting October 4th, it's going to be a dang thing. And you're going to see a bunch of us doing this thing to be supportive of Mel. We're trying to get a few 100,000 people into this challenge, and we're going to do it. So
we will.
I'm excited for you, Mel.
Me too. And for those of you that keep asking, you can buy the book anywhere books are sold. And you go to high5habit.com, the title of the book, high5habit.com, to claim the bonuses. They expire tonight at midnight, so get on it. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Tell them real quick. What are the bonuses? There's some courses that they get.
Oh, yeah. So you immediately get 2 things. You get a bonus audio chapter that you can listen to, like right now. It's a special edition of Chapter 10, which is a kick-ass pep talk and a special message to you. Number 2, it's like a micro course about the morning routine, and I take you bedhead and retainer and all into our place in Vermont and walk you through what I do with the dog following along. So you get that immediately in your inbox. And then we're doing a master class on the high 5 habit at the middle of October. And so you'll get all the information about that. You've got a seat reserved, and you get access to Growth Day, which is a $300 a year app that Dave and I coach on. You get it 5 days for free, all of the tools, the entire High 5 Challenge. You're going to swipe up on Dave's story to get your link to get into the High 5 Challenge. But all of that stuff comes if you buy the book today and you register your receipt at high5habit.com.
All right. There's urgency in this message. Number 1, you got to support Mel because she's amazing. But also, there's literally hundreds of dollars of bonuses that you get for spending $15 with her. Go and buy this book. Head over to the site. If you go to high 5, the number 5, habit.com, you will get all of the bonuses, but they expire at midnight. So you got to do it today. All right. Yep. Mel, I love you.
I love you.
I'm very, very excited about book birthday tomorrow. I'm going to be celebrating all day with you. And I'm going to tell every human being I know that they got to jump into this challenge and buy this dang book.
Here we go. I love you too. I love you too, man. Cannot
Good
wait.
Luck
Your
on
book
the
is
Oz.
coming
Say hi
next,
to the doc
baby.
for me. Say hi to Dr. Amen, and have fun with my boy Chris.
I will. You have an amazing time too, and you're next. You're
next.
I
am next.
Courage
I am
is
next.
Coming, baby. Courage is coming.
All right.
Here we go.
Have a great day.
High 5.
High 5.